All right, it's very good to see you on this Monday morning. I hope that you've had a restful weekend and you're ready to tackle the day and the week. Welcome to the show. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and today it's all about sustainable innovations. And there's a conference that is coming up, and we'll be talking about it as we continue with the show. And we are looking at unleashing the transformative power of AI for a circular economy. And just in case you're wondering, okay, Kwani, what's happening? We're talking about a conference organized by Tech University, and we'll be looking to understand more, and especially why this particular topic. Because right now, if you look around, there's a whole lot of conversation around circularity, climate change, AI. There's a bit of fears here and there about AI and how it's going to take people's jobs, okay? So we'll be focusing on that as well. And how do we leverage and harness the power of AI, and especially when we are talking about a circular economy. So it's going to be an amazing conversation. Make sure you tune in until the end of the show. And without further ado, let me introduce my guest this morning. We have Professor Alice Njuguna, who's the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics, Research and Students Affairs from Tech University. Good to have you this morning, Professor.
Good morning.
You look lovely for Monday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. And we also have Jabez Mutune, who's a Programs Manager, Kenya Climate Innovation Center, that is KCIC. Good to have you this morning. Thank you so much for your time. You look lovely as well. Can we first of all just get to understand this whole aspect about circularity, and then there's climate change, and then there's all those things. But before we get to you, Jabez, let's just first of all understand Tech University. There's something that I was reading, and I was like, you know what, this is really cool. So Tech University, you see, is a premier university for the education, technology, science, and business programs, and the university has a track record of over 25 years, and this is in nurturing holistic talents and producing market-ready graduates who are equipped with the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in today's competitive job market. And I just want us to start from there, and then we'll talk about the conference as we continue with the show. How has it been? 25 years and still remain very relevant, but also a name, that people can literally associate with.
Thank you, Winnie. The journey to growth is basically what is in our theme for the conference. We say innovate, disrupt, regenerate. Universities can only grow if they link up with the market and with the industry. If you become a silo doing your own things, you don't ever get to know what's happening in the outside world.
That's true.
So what Tech has done is to interact with the market, with our students. I believe we are one of the few universities that runs a stakeholders meeting where we call our parents. Just like 2 weeks ago, we had over 3,000 parents coming over to talk to us.
Okay.
And they tell us anything from where do we want our children to stay, what do we want them to study, where do we want them to work. And we get to discuss, and they give us very good ideas.
All right.
And that help us to really regenerate and in leaps and bounds. Now with the student population of about 11,000, just because we have worked together with the industry, we believe we are a university built for the community. Our mission is basically to impact society. And how do we do that? By teaching relevant content, by researching and feeding back the research into what we actually teach, by ensuring that our learners have practical skills so that when they hit the job market, they don't need a lot of retraining. And we're looking at the whole person, the affective, the psychomotor, the cognitive, so that the people we are producing are guys you would love to work with. They already know what they want.
Yeah. I mean, we were discussing this before we came on air, how a lot of people are saying, some universities nowadays are teaching, and this is mostly from the students, are teaching us more of the theory, and then you get to the job market and you're wondering, okay, sister, what do I do? How do I approach this and all those things? But it's good to see that now, again, Tech University, for one, is, inculcating all this into one, both some bit of theory, like you said earlier on, and more of practicals, right? And that's really, really good to hear. And Jabez, can we understand innovation? There's a lot of talk about climate change and how now educational institutions are also coming on board to really not just teach, but also be part of the solutions, right? So can we understand how, this is important?
Thanks, Winnie. At KCIC, which stands for Kenya Climate Innovation Center, we are an enterprise support organization that supports people that are coming up with innovative solutions to fight climate change.
All right.
We believe that climate change can be fought at the intersection of innovation and entrepreneurship. And we do that by supporting 5 thematic areas. So we work within the renewable energy and energy efficiency space. We work within waste management, water management, commercial forestry, and agribusiness. Of the 5 sectors that I've mentioned, all of them are contributing towards the green transition. Green transition is the new transition that is moving the economy from being linear to becoming more circular. And this is an effort to fight climate change. And of the 5 sectors, waste management presents the biggest opportunity. It is estimated to be at approximately 52.8 billion US dollars in terms of the opportunity. And so at KCIC, we strongly believe that people that are coming up with solutions that are directly fighting climate change through sustainable waste management can be able to transition Kenya from a linear economy into a circular economy. We run a program called SWIFT, which stands for Sustainable Waste Innovation for a Future in Transition. And we are doing 2 things under that program. So one is supporting entrepreneurs, young people like the ones that Professor Alice is working with, to be able to come and harness their innovations to become sustainable businesses. One, tackling the challenge of waste, but also at the same time creating employment opportunities and an impact to the community around them. 2, we're also strengthening policy framework, because what we have realized is that for the waste management sector, it is highly informal and there is lack of policy and regulations. And so we are piloting with 5 counties, and that is Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Eldoret, and Kisumu. And the reason why we are doing that is because those 5 are the biggest waste polluters. In this room, all of us are producers of waste. And so how can we be able to teach segregation at source? How can we be able to teach people to not waste, people to refuse, people to reuse, to repurpose, to upcycle? And how can technology be integrated into those processes so that then we are ensuring that there is almost zero waste in our processes?
Absolutely. And that needs to start from our very own households, like you said, because almost all of us produce waste. And it's very easy for us to point fingers and say, you know, the national government is not doing this, the county government is not doing this. What are you doing as an individual for the same? Okay. So you talked about linear and circular. And I know we hear a lot about this, but maybe someone who's like, okay, but what exactly do they mean? So do you want to just help us really understand, because that factors very much in today's conversation.
Linear is a process where people don't, in many instances, take responsibility for the use of the waste that they produce beyond when they have used and produced. For example, if I use a bottle of plastic and I've drank water, I do not have the responsibility to know and to bother what happens to it after that process. In this conversation, in light with what Zetech is doing, I buy a laptop, I buy a phone, I use it, and we know that it has a shelf life. What happens to it once it's done? Because we are sure that it's going to, at some point, reach its shelf life in terms of the maximum use. And so what we are trying to do is to encourage that people think beyond the full entire cycle of the product, of the service, so that then we ensure that there are zero waste processes.
I see that.
And a good example is, for example, for electronics and electric waste, is partnering with maybe a producer responsibility organization that then can be able to recycle, that can be able to refurbish, that can be able to upcycle the waste that comes out of our processes, to ensure that then it does not end up in a landfill, or it does not end up in a dump site, or it does not end up in your pit latrine.
That's true.
So those are part of the procedures and processes that we are hoping people can adopt, so that then we become more responsible of the waste that we are producing.
I see that. And Professor, why is this important? Because again, we'll be talking about the Research and Innovation Week and the conference that is coming up. But why is it important for Zetech University to be part of, the solution when it comes to climate change, when it comes to waste, but also harnessing the power of innovation?
I learned a lot about recycling and the cycle of life.
Yeah.
In some movie, I think that used to be called The Simba or something like that. Yeah?
All right.
Where they'd say that gazelles eat grass, and then the lions eat gazelles, and then the lions die. What happens? They go back into manure and grass grows, and nothing never really ends.
Yeah.
And if you look at, for example, rain, the rain falls, goes to the ground, joins the seas, evaporates, and then it rains again. You know, life is supposed to be cyclic.
Yeah.
And human beings are basically meant to preserve society. In our mission, we believe that we're supposed to impact society. As a university, we're supposed to teach, research, and also do community engagement, come up with programs that impact society. So unless us, as a university, tell the community the importance of waste management, sometimes we may not really be able to understand that.
That's true, yeah.
As a university, we have the brains, but there are a lot of brains going to the university.
Yeah.
And sometimes universities become drains or sinks. The information gets lost there. So as a university, we must talk about this. We must engage the community. We must help the young people to innovate. Because you know, when young people are very innovative.
Very, yes.
As a little girl, probably, if you grew up in a village, you made a doll with a maize cob.
Oh,
that
yes.
is already an innovation,
oh,
right?
yes. And clay.
And clay. And even now you give them plasticine, they'll come up
Yes.
with something so good. And these minds, unless they are harnessed, they have a lot of power.
Yeah.
So we, as a university, we believe in harnessing the power of the youth so that they're actually able to now do innovations and then be able to impact society. And climate change is becoming one of us.
It really is.
Where we are located, basically at around Ruiru and Mangu, there's a lot of human habitat. And therefore, a lot of waste coming in, a lot of concrete. People have cut down trees to be able to put up buildings. And we believe that we should be able to do the reverse. Make sure that they're planting trees, they're managing their waste, our rivers are clean. You saw the recent flooding, probably occasioned by a lot of people not understanding where we're coming from. Universities have to come back and ask themselves, what are you doing to society?
Yes.
And that's how ZTech comes in.
I really like that. Be part of the solution. Okay, so let's talk about the Innovation Week. This is, you know, ZTech University Research and Innovation Week. What is it all about?
Okay, this is our 6th Innovations Conference.
All right.
As I said earlier, universities are supposed to do research, to teach and to innovate and to impact society.
Yeah.
In our Innovations Conference, we usually bring together our own students, our own faculty, our professors, and they sit down with society.
Right.
So they sit down with the corporate world, they sit down with investors, they sit down with the government, so that we are able to have conversations on what can we be able to do together. Okay. We could be sitting at a university and our staff are coming up with very good innovations together with the students, but the industry doesn't know about it. So when that happens, we never get to commercialize. They just die a natural death. We could be sitting as faculty, we do a lot of research on, let's say, mental health. Where do those publications go? They end up on the shelves and nothing really happens after that. So our research conference is supposed to bring together the industry and academia so that the innovators can get to meet with potential investors who can be able to help us commercialize and scale up to the next level. Our innovators can get to meet with the government so that they can get to know what programs exist, for example, to protect their innovations. For example, when you come up with something new, you're supposed to go to KIRDI, patent it so that nobody else copies it. So the Innovation Conference opens a door where people are able to meet, interact, innovate, and come up with new ideas. So basically, in our Innovation Week, we have 5 days of active work whereby people get to exhibit what they have come up with.
All right.
The innovators exhibit, the investors come and see exactly what we are doing. The funders come and see what we are doing. And we see what we can be able to build that can be, then be able to last. Also, our faculty are able now to disseminate their research findings so that they don't become the sink that I had talked about earlier. Why have you carried out research about mental health?
And then that's
how is it helping? How are you bringing AI into the market? Because also we have to talk about topical issues. Although AI is something that we talk about every day, the conference helps us to demystify some of these things, and then we can have meaningful conversations. And also, the research conference helps to put the university on the world map.
That's true. I see that.
Yes.
I see that. So what are some of these thematic areas that you're looking to discuss all week?
We like going current.
Okay.
So that's why basically we are talking about innovate, disrupt, and regenerate to see how we can unleash the potential of AI into the circular economy. So we are looking at topical areas. What is everybody talking about?
Yeah.
Educational technologies, for example, is one of the themes. During COVID, we learned a lot that you can actually teach online. But a lot has happened since 2020, Winnie. Now there is ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence applications. Instead of fighting those applications, because they're here to stay. Just like the automatic car came and we thought it was a short while and now everybody drives an automatic, artificial intelligence is here to stay. So we're looking at innovations that are about educational technologies. We're looking at innovations around agricultural technologies. Because although we are moving towards industrialization, we are still not yet food sufficient as a country. So we are asking ourselves, how can we use artificial intelligence to be able to grow better food? How can we grow artificial intelligence to be able to do pest control without affecting the economy, without affecting the climate for that matter? For example, in the agricultural sector, we use a lot of pesticides, which we are told that they're not very good for our bodies, not good for the environment. But you can use artificial intelligence. For example, a group of our students have come up with an automated, a smart pest deterrent. Instead of using herbicides and pesticides, you have a drone that acts like a scarecrow. And you can chase away birds from where so that your rice fields are free to be able to grow. So we are asking, how can we use AI in agriculture and to grow that? How can we use AI in business? I can't remember the last time I walked into a banking hall. I do my banking online. But how can we use artificial intelligence to make sure that our money is even more secure? Because when we think our money is somewhere, people start getting worried.
Scared,
So we're also looking at entrepreneurship and how artificial intelligence is being applied. We're also looking at media. Media. A lot of transformation has occurred because of information technology. So we are asking, how can you use AI? I know you guys do, for example, a lot of fact checking before you can be able to bring us the news that you write. How can we use artificial intelligence to filter some of these data so that we are sure that what you're bringing us is actually not fake data? So media and transformation comes out as one of our other themes. And then we're also talking about climate change. That's how Jabez is here. We're talking about renewable energy and climate change. How can we be able to renew some of the things that we use so that we are not affecting the climate in a negative manner?
Absolutely. And Jabez, I want you to just pick up on this, and especially the role of AI in all the areas that you, as KCIC, also and Prof mentioned agriculture, which is very, very key, and also climate change, as a whole. So let's understand how then AI, first of all, factors in the same. How do we harness the power? But also a bit of the challenges, that AI presents and the available solutions. I know those are like 5 questions in one.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
I would like just to piggyback from where Prof has left it. And I like what the university is doing, and I like the opportunity that they are affording young people. Because traditionally, most of us went to school with the intention of getting employment, but now trying to shift that mindset and encourage young people to look at other alternatives and other options other than being employed. And that's where then KCIC comes in, and partnering with partners such as ZTech University, because then we know that there's potential in entrepreneurship, there's potential in not being employed but becoming an employer. And that's what we try and do. It is estimated that between 95 and 98% of people who start businesses do not see their 3rd birthday. So what that is called the valley of death. And basically it's where you have come up with an innovation, you have a brilliant idea, and maybe the challenges that you're facing is around technical capacity, is around business management processes, is around financing. And you cannot be able to do that, and therefore then your idea does not commercialize. And at KCIC, that is the gap that you're trying to bridge, that is the gap that you're trying to meet in the market. And over the last 12 years, we've supported about 3,000 enterprises with a commercialization rate of approximately 67%. That means that for every 10 businesses that walk into our office, 7 of them make it to their 3rd birthday. And that's the difference that we want to make. And specifically for the sectors that Prof has mentioned, and in agriculture, we are seeing a lot a lot of integration of technology, a lot of use of AI to be able just to harness the solutions that we are coming up with for food security and also for employment. A good example is what she's talked about, precision farming. There's a lot of that we are seeing. There's a lot of regenerative agriculture. I think traditionally we were talking about if you look at the health practices and where people are tending towards, it's like we are going back to our traditional roots. And there's a lot of technology that you can be able to apply to be able to come up with organic fertilizers, to be able to come up with vermicomposting, to be able to do BSFL farming, whereby you do insect larvae, to be able to do protein supplementation, as well as come up with organic fertilizer. And so there's a lot of technology that we see there. We see technology around irrigation for better use of water. And we see also a lot of technology for pesticide management and control. And that is as a result of the gains that we are seeing within the AI space, and also the precision farming space that comes with that. And so for us, what we are keen and what we are particular on is to work with partners such as ZTech. And when Prof has talked about the Innovation Week that is coming, is for us to give a platform to the young people to say, you with an idea, you with an innovation, and you're not too sure how to convert it into a business. How can we work with you? How can we build your capacity? How can we ensure that your business commercializes, moves from an idea, and you actualize it, and then you commercialize it. And commercialization is for you to be able to convert one person to believe and buy your product or your service. And that's what we strongly believe at KCIC we are doing, and that's why we are very excited to be partnering with ZTech for the upcoming Innovation Week.
I see that. And speaking of commercializing, Prof, how is the university commercializing research? Because you said it's one thing to have this amazing research that has been done and then just put on the shelf and then, right, that's it. You know, and it's another thing to have, yes, research, very well done, but also commercializing it. So then how's the university helping in the same?
Thank you so much, Winnie. At ZTech University, we have a hub that we call the IZ Hub, the ZTech University Innovation Hub, whereby we incubate young businesses.
Right.
So, for example, you come in with an innovation that you have come up with, like there's a young man who came in with a cane for the blind. It was just a concept. So what we do is that we attach them to mentors who tell them how to move from concept to market. And we tell them about the IP policy, then we link them up with the relevant bodies, and we tell them how to protect themselves to make sure that nobody cannibalizes into their ideas. So at any single time, we'll have about 15 businesses that we're incubating. Sometimes they require funds. If we have the ability to fund them, if it is small scale, we'll fund them. If it requires a little bit more money, we then invite people like Jabez, and they'll come up with their money and help these young people to be able to go to the markets. Then we also teach them business skills, because sometimes innovators get so excited that the first person who comes along with 2 million will take your business. So we teach them how to draw contracts. You know, how to even manage a business, because sometimes they don't have all those skills. And for the Innovation Hub, it's not just for the students at the university. We also invite people from outside the market, even from high school, who will come with ideas that we think are tenable, ideas that can actually be built into the same. And that has worked well for us, because we're seeing a new generation of people now saying, right, I was doing it wrong. And ZTech has really helped me to be able to shape up my business.
What has been like the biggest challenge over time for some of the students who have like this amazing ideas? Is it more of how then do I, you know, for example, approach an investor, for example, because I know you've talked about link them, you know, with investors and all those things. But what has been the biggest challenge for them? I know some people would say, first of all, just coming up with that idea is a bit of a challenge, because there's nothing new under the sun, right? So I wonder if this is one of the biggest challenges that you have seen over time at the university.
Actually, Winnie, Kenya is not short of ideas.
Right.
Our young people are extremely creative. And I think you've already alluded to it. Sometimes they don't know what to do. They're ignorant. They haven't seen this from the beginning up to the end. They don't know where the investors are. They don't know where the forums are. And sometimes those forums are not very easy to reach. some of the forums that are organized are so international that you hear the UN is coming and you don't know how to get in. So the biggest problem is, how do I get the investor? How do I get to pitch my idea so that somebody can be able to see what I am doing? Because someone will come and tell you, where is your prototype? You don't even know what is a prototype. You just have built something and you expect it to work. So that ignorance, that lack of awareness, that lack of knowledge is basically what has been lacking. Usually occasioned by lack of a mechanism that reaches out to these people exactly at the roots. Bodies are there, by the Kenya is rich. We have Kenya and many other innovation agencies that help the young people to do that. But getting that information to the grassroots has been the biggest problem. Yes.
And Jabez, to piggyback on the same, because like he said, for every 10 ideas that come your way, 7 of them commercialized, right? So what is it that you're looking for? Exactly, because again, like I said, I speak to so many young people. They're very innovative. They have this very great ideas, but then again, they're like, but maybe someone else is actually doing the same. So then, what's the point, right? So what is it that you're looking for that would qualify the 7 and probably disqualify the 3?
Yeah, thanks, Winnie. I think the biggest gap or the biggest opportunity that we see, as Prof has rightly put it, it's not for a lack of innovation.
Okay.
Every day you see new ideas, new concepts, new dynamics with regard to how you do business modeling, probably doing the same thing, but having an innovation around payment, having an innovation around last mile reach, having an innovation to ensure that then the product or the service is reaching the intended person.
All right.
But where the challenge is twofold. One is skills gap or capacity gap, where you're a technical expert or you're a technical innovator, and what you're good with is the technical side of your business or your idea. So coming up with a working prototype, coming up with a solution that is solving a problem. But now turning that solution into a business is where there's a challenge. And that's where we step in and come in. So how do you do your business modeling? How do you make sure that whatever innovation or solutions that you're coming up with is actually reaching the intended market? Because it's one thing to have a solution to a problem. It's another thing to make sure that it is reaching the intended person. How do you ensure that as it reaches that person, it is not too expensive, that then the cost of reaching that person supersedes the benefit that you're supposed to get as an entrepreneur? How do you go around record keeping? How do you go around financial management? When you make a profit, what do? Do you plow it back into your business, or do you go and buy a land? Or for the young people, do you go and buy a car?
I mean, the latest one. I mean, really poorly.
or an iPhone 15, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you teach them business practices so that then when the money comes, it does not create a problem in itself, but also it's money that then sustains the business. And that's what we try and walk them through. The second challenge, which is eminent, is the challenge of financing, and especially for idea stage companies where commercial lending looks at them as too high risk ventures, and therefore they are not willing to drip or put money in that. And that's where we come in, because we want to, what we'd like to call it is a demonstration effect. So that a bank can be able to look at entrepreneur X, then there needs to be someone that has believed in their business, someone that has put money in that business, and that's where we come. So providing patient or concessionary capital that helps these businesses to be turned from ideas to become actual businesses or actual ventures that then can be able to scale up. And so we do that twofold. For the very early stage companies, then we offer them what you call a proof of concept grant. And literally it is just that, to prove whether the concept works. And then for those that are a bit advanced and those ones that have a bit of skin in the game, you give them patient capital or concessionary debt that helps them to learn the terms and conditions of repayment, but not too expensive, that then helps creates a working capital problem. So one that helps them to know the obligations that come with a debt, but at the same time one that allows them to be able to scale up and grow their businesses. Yeah.
All right. Prof, what is, like, I know there are so many successes, right, as far as innovation, the use of AI, but would you mention, because then again, if I ask you which one stood out, you know, other students will be like, no, but ours also did this and that. But what is that one or two that's, you know, you as a university looked and said, you know what, we're actually proud of our students and of this product that they've come up with?
Thank you.
I am putting you on the hot seat.
No. You know, the question you ask is like asking which is my favorite child.
Right?
But that's a good question. We have several.
Yeah.
Particularly in the field of IT, our students have done a good job. As I said earlier, there are students who came up with a smart pest deterrent system. To me, that really stood out. Yeah. We heard of scarecrows. I think when I was a little girl, I must have made a scarecrow to scare away pests and the likes. But you see, it is stationary. And birds are also becoming wiser. By then, you know, animals become wiser with time. True. They know which side the scarecrow is. True. So they will not
would go to the other side.
So these young innovators have come up with a system that's like a drone that is actually able to tell where the birds are and to scare them from whatever location that they are. Yeah. And to me, that really stood out. As I said earlier, it helps us to stop using pesticides, which are harmful to the environment. We have another innovation by one of our students who makes cables, charging cables. He uses recyclable material. You know, the way plastic bottles, you know, the end of your charger has some plastic casing. Yes. That is made from recycled material. Then he makes his cables to last very long, like 5 years, so even or 6 years, so that even if you buy your cable and you buy a new phone, you don't have to keep on buying the charging cables. There's a drawer in my house, and I suspect you have one mini full of cables. Every time you buy a phone, there's a cable.
It's embarrassing to even think about it.
I think every house has that drawer.
Everybody,
so, to me, that also stands out because he's thinking long term. He's not looking at fast-moving consumer goods that every time you have a new phone, a new cable, and he's using recycled materials. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We've also had our students deal with the robotics, with the system that is actually able to collect data about carbon credits. Yeah. At a very local level, very rudimentary, a system that actually took them to Sweden, and I think they'll be going to Athens later on in the year. Nice. Very creative minds, and they're not just IT students. These are students coming from IT, business, media, and the likes, and they work together, and that has really helped us.
That is so good to hear. I mean, I know sitting here today, you're one proud...
I feel like a proud mother.
Right? Yeah. As a proud mom. Okay, how about you take a break? When we come back, we'll focus more on the upcoming conference, which will be happening from the 11th to 12th July. But I know there's a pre-conference as well. And Prof also mentioned a few of the thematic areas that they will be focusing on as well. And just in case you're wondering, so is it open to the general public or not? Well, we'll be answering all those questions after the break. Stay with us. The show is Your World. All right, welcome back. Of course, the conversation continues even during the break, 37 minutes past the hour. And just in case you're tuning in today, the focus of our conversation is on sustainable innovations, and of course, there's a conference that is coming up from the 11th to 12th July 2024, organized by Tech University, and they are looking to unleash the transformative power of AI for a circular economy, and of course, under the theme, innovate, disrupt, and regenerate. And this is unleashing, again, like I said, the transformative power of AI for a circular economy. And Prof, just in case someone has tuned in right now thinking, okay, fine. So innovate, disrupt, and regenerate. Why this specific theme?
Thank you, Winnie. Yeah. The thematic areas. Yes. What is trending now? Yeah. Because we want to talk exactly at exactly what is going on in the market. So do we have new innovations? And once we innovate them, are they disrupting the market? Because we say an innovation is not really an innovation until it disrupts the market. And then is it reusing stuff or is it coming to harm the environment? So we're saying regenerate, so that we have new knowledge, we have new ideas, you know, we have new products hitting the market. Yes.
I see that. So who are some of the delegates that you are expecting for the conference?
We're first of all, very excited that on Wednesday, the conference will formally be opened by CS Rebecca Miano, the CS Investment, Trade and Industry. And we have delegates from academia, from the industry, from the banking sector, basically from all our thematic areas. We have delegates from the field of climate change, the field of renewable energy. We have delegates from the fintech world, people who are dealing with the money markets and technology that are used there. We have delegates from the media. That's why we are partnering with the nation to sponsor the event. We have delegates from the agribusiness who are looking at how they can use artificial intelligence to build a smart agriculture. And from the general business world, entrepreneurs from all over the world, because some people will even be joining us online if they are not able to make it physically.
Okay.
Yes. So we expect about 300 delegates in the first 2 days.
Right.
Then the last 2 days we'll have the research conference. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe someone is tuning in right now and thinking, okay, how can we be part of the of the conference? Is it open to the general public?
The conference is open to the general public because we are exhibiting, we are innovating. Just like when I was a little girl, I liked going to the agricultural show of Kenya. Those days, I think it was called the ASK.
Yes, it was so much fun.
I'd never seen such fat cows and such healthy plants and the likes. And if I wasn't allowed to go in there, I would have wondered what goes on beneath the walls. So even our conference is open because the exhibitions will be free. People can come and just view exactly what is happening because we want to reach as many people as we can with the innovations that our students are coming up with.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you mentioned ASK. And I remember, I mean, I think most millennials will relate to this, where I would see the mermaid. It's just the head.
Yeah, just the head, and you don't know what's underneath.
You're like, what? Anyway, okay, I digress. Jabez, so for you, I mean, how are you contributing towards, not contributing, but being part of the conference, and what are you looking forward most, you know, to either discuss or to exhibit?
So, two things. One is, for the longest time, climate change has been a boardroom conversation. It has been things that are discussed in summits where they're being led by the UN and the cooperation of parties. And what we want to do is to demystify that, break it down so that that person who is at the village, who is doing regenerative agriculture through use of manure, can know that they are contributing towards making the environment a bit more sustainable. And so sharing information and breaking it down to consumable parts for the general public. Two is to accelerate and to amplify the programs that we have. A lot of people are missing out on opportunities because they do not have information. And we generally and strongly believe that then the young people are the people coming up with innovations, with solutions, and these have to be handheld and mentored to become businesses that can be able to create employment. So we are looking forward to interact with the people that will be exhibiting. We'll have our very own, some of our entrepreneurs exhibiting and showing some of the solutions that they're coming up with, be it in the renewable energy space or be it in waste management and circular principles, and also within the agri space using technology. So we're excited to showcase that, but also through those interactions, see if there is pipeline that can be able to be built into our programs and that can be able to benefit through the programs that we come up with. At KCIC, we are lucky to have a good funding base, and that funding base is for the Kenyan people. So if they don't get an opportunity to know what opportunities exist or are there for them, then they miss out on the opportunity. And we believe that this conference will be giving an opportunity for us to showcase our work, but more importantly, giving an opportunity for the people that will be attending to know that there are opportunities for them to be able to scale up the innovations and they can partner with us.
How would you advise people? Because I know people go for these conferences, and some of them would actually leave without either making a contact or meeting someone or meeting an innovator and all those things, because again there's that aspect of, will they really you know, like my idea and whatnot? So what is it that you'd want people to, you know, to know and to come out with, you know, from the conference, from you know, your side and also from Prof's side? But let's start with you.
That's a good question. We've run our own investment summits as KCIC. And for the longest time, I always thought that then you would like, when you have such forums, you'd like people to identify by what tag they come in. So for example, if I come in as an entrepreneur, I want to be known as an entrepreneur. If I come in as an investor, I want to have a tag that is written investor. And coincidentally, most investors do not want to be identified. They want to be incognito. They want to stay in the room. They want to observe. They want to walk and talk. So they don't go and and announce themselves, and they say, hey, I'm here, I'm putting
I have the
money
money.
into businesses. If you have an idea, come. No,
Yeah.
no, that's not what they do.
Yeah.
And so speaking about what you're doing and knowing how to pitch your business. There's something we teach entrepreneurs called an elevator pitch. And effectively what that means is, if I was on the 5th floor or on the 6th floor of this building, and I got into a lift and I had a once in an opportunity chance to speak to an investor. How do I convert them between the lift coming down from 5th floor? By the time it hits ground floor, they're willing to give me their business card. So being able to articulate your business in a precise and succinct way within 1 or 2 minutes, that then creates the need or the urge or the interest for someone to be able to want to follow up with a conversation. So being able to articulate your business, being able to articulate your idea in the most precise and direct way that ensures you don't miss an opportunity. But more importantly, being able to network, because when you go for these forums and you sit in your own little corner, then it does not provide the opportunity that then you have gone in the first place. So as you go there, speak up, interact with different people, you just never know. You might be speaking to someone who is the next investor, the next person who's going to scale your business up to go to the next level.
Yeah, leave your fear at the door as you go into the conference. All right, and Prof, I've looked at the program. It's wow, it's very comprehensive, but I want to say very intense, right? That I know someone who might want to work and be like, okay, so where do I go? Because there's the policy discussion on artificial intelligence. There's the impact of AI technologies. There's a part where we'll be talking about the socio-economic, bridging the divide, and this is media literacy interventions. There's a lot, okay? So for someone who's thinking, okay, so where do I start? How do I attend? How do I know, where to go to make use of the conference and get out of the conference, a much different person in terms of the knowledge and, the skills that people get from the conference?
Thank you, Winnie. The secret is in the organization. How you actually plan how the delegates will walk in and how the panel discussions are held. And this is not a boardroom affair. So we tried to demystify all this. It's actually outside in the open in tents, whereby you're free to actually walk into this tent. And then we're asking them to use what he's talking about, be able to explain yourself, use the 6-point rule, whereby just 6 bullets, in 6 lines, just tell us exactly what you're exhibiting, so that a person will come and look and see your prototype in very good graphics. Of course, now there is artificial intelligence. Then you can tell, oh, this is media. This is where I want to go. You might actually come for media and find yourself in fintech. Right? You might come for fintech and find yourself in agriculture because of the way that is actually presented. So given that, by the way, we are dealing with a very outspoken generation now. Yes. As you have seen them, they're able to really express themselves, and there are people still managing the show, not the professors behind the bar. They're the ushers, very willing to explain to you what happens. And then although they look as if they're packed, they're very short sessions that simply just give you a tip of what's happening. So you go to that panel discussion, Jabez will talk very briefly about climate change, just to be able to trigger, to catalyze your curiosity. Then you'll now be able to know exactly what you're talking about. And then finally, all these things are related. Because if I'm in fintech, I'd want to fund something educational. If I'm in educational, I'd want to teach about agricultural technologies. If it's agricultural technologies, I'd like to do some entrepreneurship. So we make it in such a way that finally the user will come out something substantive. And then networking, the power of the network. That's why we have a number of days, so that you're actually able to be able to see what's going on and what's happening. There'll be some few sales. Some people will sell some of the artifacts, like the people who are making food, innovations like biscuits made from some nutritional matter. That makes you to want to come back and exactly find out exactly what this person particularly exhibiting. And I am sure that our investors will be able to actually see exactly what our people are talking about.
All right. Yes. And ZTech University will be exhibiting, I want to believe. I mean, you're the host, yes, but
we are exhibiting a lot of our products. Our students, like the ATU team that's talking about the smart investment, they'll be exhibiting. We'll be exhibiting the long life cables by Totosai. Our students will basically be there showing exactly what they have, of course, the guidance from their professors, but we'll also have exhibitors from outside. They will be exhibiting. So we really want the market to come and see not just the new exhibitions, new innovations, but even the ones that have matured, so that you can also encourage the young ones that you guys can move from this level, from prototype to the end product.
Yeah, I see that. And same question. So what is it that you hope that those who will attend the conference will come out with? And also to talk to the students as well out there who are like, hey, okay, sawa, let's go and see what is it that you hope as a university that the public will come out from the conference.
Thank you, Winnie. For us, it is to impact society.
Okay.
We think like Wangari Maathai, be the little hummingbird. Change one investor, just one innovator. And you'll be able to see exactly what happens. Yeah. So we also want to project our students because they have a lot of stuff that they do. We really want the market to see exactly what's happening in there, how creative the students are, and also to market our products as well. Because when people think that if I do media, the last thing I'll do is maybe write some article in the papers so that you can actually see there is a lot of innovations. But we also want these innovations to impact society. We want to be a game changer. We want to be a solution provider to some of the problems that are facing society that can be solved using artificial intelligence.
I really like that. We don't just teach you and then that's it. Go figure your way around the world, but also being part of the solution. And Jabez, so there's one thing to first of all understand and leveraging and harnessing the power of AI, and especially when we're talking about climate change. But sustaining the same. And you mentioned a little bit earlier that sometimes this is where there's a big problem, right? Because people are not short of ideas. Some will have the confidence to speak to an investor and get their money, but then sustaining this idea that then it will impact the society, it will provide solutions. Sometimes is where this is a bit of a challenge. So then how do we ensure that yes, we harness, but we also sustain it, and it keeps changing, right? So that we adapt to the changing nature of technology and AI.
I like the last bit that you said, it keeps changing, so we have to adapt. I think that's the first thing you have to do. Because then if you are stuck on one solution and you think that's the only way that solution can be done, then eventually it's not going to become sustainable. So continuously innovating, continuously adapting to the changes within the environment, to the changes within the market system, consistently getting feedback. One solution at the beginning could work for your clients, but over time, then they need new solutions, they need new dynamics. Being alive to the competition around you, you're not the only one who is innovating. People are coming up with different innovations that are trying to address the same challenge. So how do you ensure that you're ahead of the curve? How do you ensure that always your solution is unique and there is value that you're providing to your customers? And so for us, we do that by supporting them to understand business modeling. And business modeling is, in very layman terms, how does my business make money? So how do I innovate? How do I make sure my processes are efficient? How do I make sure that where I'm sourcing is efficient? How do I leverage on the use of technology so that then I ensure that the technology that I am coming up or employing in my business is aligning to the efficiency that is required in my processes? How do I ensure that there is zero waste? There's a lot of talk around sustainability. So sustainability is not just business sustainability, it's also environmental sustainability. It's sustainability in our processes. How do you ensure that for whatever you can reuse, for whatever you can repurpose, you use that in your processes? Because then effectively it brings down your cost of production. And I think finally is just now linking you up with the market one, but also with opportunities that can enable you to scale up. I like the example that Prof has used of the young man who's doing those cables. I believe the idea was born in ZTech, and then it was incubated at Kenya Climate Innovation Center. So when he came, he had the idea, and he needed equipment. For him to be able to do that, then he needs equipment that can be able to turn the plastic and to be able to convert it into cables, and also the end pins that then you insert into your phones. And I'm glad to say that that is part of those are part of the enterprises that we have supported, and we have been able to scale him up within 2 of our programs. One for adoption of innovation and technology to buy him equipment, but 2 because he's using circular principles in our waste management program as well. And so mine is just to reiterate and to tell the youth that opportunities are there. You need to be in the right room, and you need to be speaking to the right people, and you need to be connected with the right partners, such as ZTech and KCIC.
I mean, I see that. And it's interesting that you're saying when you think about a business, first of all, think about how your business is going to make money.
Yeah.
You know, we've had conversations over time where people say, when you think of a business, first of all, don't think about the money side. Think about, you know, what change is it bringing, what impact, you know, what problem is it solving, and then the money will come later. And I think this is where lots of people sometimes fail, because you don't see the bigger picture. You're only focused on, you know, a single thing. Listen, we're learning a lot, and the conference has not even started. Prof, still harnessing on the power of AI and how it keeps changing over time, and as far as technology is concerned, how then are universities, for example, ZTech, doing to sort of adapt to the changing nature, first of all, how things are? Because I want to believe how we studied back then is not how, you know, you're conducting the same right now. So then how do you ensure that you keep adapting to the changing world, but also still offer the same quality service 25 years later as ZTech University?
Well, innovate, generate. You have to keep on doing research and not local, you know, global. They always say, think global, act local. You have to look at what other markets are doing. What are they doing in Singapore? What are they doing in China? How is the media curriculum in China? How is the curriculum for education in India, in Singapore? Then you have to come back and always review your curriculum. There's a basic content, but there are many other things that you do. You must always be teaching emerging issues so that your faculty and your students are always on their feet. The other thing you must do is to work very closely with the industry, because sometimes innovations hit the industry before they even hit the university. So you must keep very close touch, keep reviewing your curriculum, retraining, upskilling your faculty so that they're able to give value to their students continuously on the go.
And speaking of the same, then what are some of this, you know, training opportunities and programs, graduate programs that are available at ZTech University?
Thank you, Winnie, and I'm glad to say that some of the new programs we have came out from association with Team Jabez, and through our last 5 innovation conferences, we started to realize that there's a lot whereby IT is seen as a driver. There's a lot that you can do through IT, especially if you do a lot of innovations. So we have come up with 3 curriculum. We have a Master of Science in Information Technology, a Master of Science in Computer Science, and a PhD in Computer Science, whereby we are focusing more on innovations. So we have a lot of people doing things about data science, so that they're able to model disease, they are able to model governance, they are able to model child labor, they're able to model things like mental health. Like, for example, mental health is a big issue. So when you teach you a Master of Science in Computer Science, it is just not computer science. We'll show you how to do modeling to tell how people behave when they have mental health issues. And that can be applied elsewhere. So those 3 programs are coming up in September, and they are a child of our innovations conference. And we believe that they will even help us to create more faculty, more manpower, and more innovation that will then hit the market.
And Jabez, do you want to just speak on the power of collaboration then? Because I think there's a lot happening between KCIC and ZTech University, and how that has been over time, successes that you have seen.
I think even as I speak about that, I just want to really commend Prof and the work that they're doing at ZTech University. And I want just to insist and lay emphasis on the importance of research and how research then informs a lot that then leads to the growth of a nation or a country. Because then research informs the opportunities that exist within a certain area of study, within a certain sector, within a certain field. And then out of that opportunity is when people come up with innovations. So you cannot have innovations if they're not informed by research. But then innovations come up before policy. So you will innovate, you will come up with an EV, or you will start assembling an EV vehicle in Kenya, and then the government is like, wait, how do we tax this? How do we make sure? So trying to ensure that then our innovation informs policy. So how can we work with stakeholders and different partners to ensure that the policy environment that we are creating is enabling? Because if then you do not have an enabling environment, then you kill the innovations that are coming up with. But then if you have an enabling environment, then people can be able to foster and their businesses can be able to grow.
True.
And if then there is growth, there is economic development for the country. So I just want to insist and just want to lay emphasis on the place of research and the role that academia is doing in leading that conversation. But then they cannot be able to complete the loop if they do not work with organizations and partners like us. So working together so that then we create an enabling environment, an environment that ensures that people do not come up with innovations today, but tomorrow they are being killed because policy framework is not allowing them to be able to operate within the country. And that's why maybe like the finance bill was a big conversation, because then policy really influences how then people are able to operate small businesses, but then the contribution of this small business and that small business collaboratively then builds the economy and the future that we want to transition.
I say that. Will you allow me to take that as your parting shot? Because we have to literally have to end the show, and Prof, I'll give you the last word. And just speak very briefly on, I mean, we've talked comprehensively about the conference, but what is it that you want the people to know who are watching us this morning, as far as the benefits, you know, the bigger picture of this conference? I'm tempted to ask, hey, so what is the next conference? What are you looking forward to? But let's focus on this one first. And what is it that you want the people to know?
Thank you, Winnie. I just want the general population to know that there's a lot to see. For example, one of our exhibitors is using lithium batteries, like the ones you use on your cameras.
Yes.
And they are reusing them, they're recycling them to actually make electrical motorcycles. Cheaper, more affordable, environmental friendly. So I really want to tell the Kenyans and basically the whole world to come to a conference and basically see how the young people are doing, to support the young people, to move their innovations to the market, to buy their products, to give them ideas, and if they have funds that they can be able to spare to help these people build their markets to the next level, they come, we learn together. We improve the economy, we improve our curriculum, we improve the livelihoods, and we create more jobs.
I like that. And the university? What is it that people would need to know about the university?
The university is growing. New programs, as I said, a Master of Science in Computer Science, a Master of Science in IT, and a PhD in Computer Science, and other programs coming up, all made together with the industry, with a lot of input from the stakeholders that will really help them to be able to scale to the next level and to invent their future, as we say at Tech University. I
like that. I really, really like that. Thank you so much, Professor Alison Njuguna, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics, Research and Students Affairs from Tech University, and Jabez Mutune, who's the Programs Manager, Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Thank you so much, really, both of you, for your time this morning. I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping that people would actually come to the conference and also learn even, you know, bigger things. And especially for the young innovators out there, this is your opportunity. Well, allow us to say goodbye right now. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Enjoy the rest of your viewing and the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon right here on Your World. Stay safe.